we are all human beings and we're not expected to be perfect all the time. I think that it's very normal not to feel like we have it all together, and it's impossible to think that we always have it all together. And so I think this girl was so brave to reach out for help, and so I was able just to be able to point her, be just like a friendly ear.
I want to say Behind the Lens and Runway Academy started because of my experiences, and also because of my friends. I was seeing, just like you, I was in your spot where I grew a really close relationship with the girls that I was with. And for me, what I went through isn't as bad as what they went through up to the competitions that I was in.
The glitz and glam is the fame, but it's the work backstage that makes the game. I'm Crystel and Bandal, your host. Come with me behind the lens and watch their stories unfold. So our next workshop is about mental health once again, but this time from a different perspective. So before we had a workshop about positive mindsetting with Tina, this time you're going to be doing mindsetting with Sharna. She is the director of Arts Care. She is basically the person who goes backstage of fashion shows like Mercedes-Benz Fashion Week, and she kind of takes care of some models, fashion designer, anyone who is backstage to make sure that they are okay mentally and emotionally and physically, because obviously, as we've mentioned before, how you present yourself outside, like on the stage, is going to, your inner qualities is going to shine no matter what. So I'm very excited for you guys to hear it, because it's a different one. It's a Q&A. So any questions that you have about mental health, maybe anything that sparks your curiosity with the past workshops that you've had over the weeks, you can ask any questions and we'll do our best to answer it. So take.
So lovely just to see your beautiful faces. I got to sit in on some of the other workshops just before I came, and I love the energy in the room, and it's such a privilege to be here, so thank you so much. So I got involved with doing Arts Care actually because I had a model who was only 16. She had come from overseas, and it was her first runway show in Australia, and she found herself in a really difficult situation. So she was actually housed by her agency with a couple of people who were quite abusive to her actually, and because of that she really suffered mentally and emotionally, and by some chance her mum in the US actually was able to get hold of my number and call me, because at the time I was actually in sport, so I was actually supporting professional athletes with their well-being, and she said, is there anyone who does what you're doing in sport in the arts and entertainment? So she and I said that I would go and help her daughter, and we were able to get her into a safe place and get her the support that she needed, and from that I actually realised there was a bit of a void in that space of mental health, looking after the mental health of people in the arts and entertainment and fashion, and it was something that was really needed. Yeah.
So we'll take that as an example. She might have been your first client when it came to Arts of Care. So how did you help her in her mental health journey?
Yeah. So in the industry, it's as we know, it looks very glamorous on the outside, but backstage there can be different stresses. So some of the stresses can be, being in a very pressured environment, and just the highs and lows. So managing the highs and lows of the emotions, and as Crystel so beautifully said before, we are all human beings, and we're not expected to be perfect all the time. I think that it's very normal not to feel like we have it all together, and it's impossible to think that we always have it all together. And so I think this girl was so brave to reach out for help, and so I was able just to be able to point her, be just like a friendly ear, someone that she could bounce ideas off, and kind of tell me what was going on, but then also be able to point her in the right direction of the right services and people. I think too, in the modelling industry, sometimes shows can be quite tight as well. So you've even got with your scheduling too. So we've even had models that have just been at another show and running over to make the other show too. So that can be an extra stress as well. So yeah, things can happen. But yeah, I think it's managing the anxiety through it, and if you can kind of keep in that space of being relaxed. Yeah, I think that's the one. So just getting tips of breathing.
Because it is quite a tough industry to be in.
Yeah.
There's a lot of critics everybody has something to say. So I just want to know, how do you stay so busy in this industry?
So I guess what I can give you is my personal experience on trying to stay healthy in this kind of industry. It's hard, I'll tell you that, and I'm sure that you've already recognized that. As you said, it is a very difficult industry to be in because all eyes are on you, whether they be an audience, the people who are following you on social media, the judges who are always watching you, making sure that you're up to date with the MRSA activities or whatever it is, or that you are presenting yourself 100% well. Keeping that in mind though, just out of topic, when I say 100% yourself, it doesn't have to be perfect all the time. You can be vulnerable and be on social media and be like, and try and make it like a positive output. Let's say one of the more sensitive topics that touches my heart a lot is mental health. And what really breaks my heart is that when you're in a circle of friends and you're all great and you all click really well, but once one person goes through a specific challenge that changes them drastically, everyone just kind of disappears.
That is
You know? That's really hard, and that's what really gets me going. It kind of frustrates me a little bit, and I kind of made a post in that on social media where I was just like, you know, we're all human, that kind of thing. I posted on social media and I was just being myself, but I didn't try and talk down on anyone. I didn't say that, you know, you can't be doing this, you're a bad person. I didn't call out any names or anything like that. I was just like trying to open their perspective and be understanding, empathize other people, because you don't know what's going on behind those doors of their homes, you know? And when it comes to being professional and being mentally healthy in this kind of industry, the first step is always opening your doors to somebody, whether that be your parents, a friend, or a counselor, maybe a counselor in your own uni or school, work, that kind of stuff. Australia is very welcoming to that kind of help. They're always very willing to do it. It's always about just taking that courage to open your doors, be vulnerable, and allow someone to guide you through that journey. For me, I went through cyberbullying when I was very new to this industry, and the person who really helped me, and it kind of gives me the tears sometimes, was my mom. She was the person who was always speaking for me because I was just too broken inside, where I was just like, I can't do this, I shouldn't be here because like I don't want to go through this again. But my mom was the person, oh my god, I'm crying. But my mom was the person who just centered me, and just that repetition where I couldn't do that self-affirmation to myself. So my mom was the one who did that for me. And not just my mom, but my dad as well. And believe it or not, even my 9-year-old brother would just visit me in my room. He's like, you're okay, like you did great, you know? I'm so sorry. Cheers. Yeah, so this whole MRSA, Behind the Lens, and Runway Academy started because of my experiences, and also because of my friends. I was seeing, just like you, I was in your spot, where I grew a really close relationship with the girls that I was with. And for me, what I went through isn't as bad as what they went through after the competitions that I was in. For a lot of them, without mentioning any names, one of them, we don't know where they are. They are homeless, nowhere to be found. One went through depression for a few weeks or a few months, and for some of them just completely cut it out and changed careers, and that's okay. You know, you just have to open your doors and allow yourself to be vulnerable, because that is always the first step to healing and recovery. Yeah? I'm so sorry, guys. So, I guess now that you kind of know my backstory, like a little peek, this is why we do these workshops for you guys, where we connect all the people that we know, that we have worked with, because we know that every one of them, no matter what area or what their specialization is, they can help you. Even if it's something as small as skincare.
And so we do workshops and things like that, so that can be just really helpful in exploring some of those core beliefs as well, and giving you those tools, and we can work with you on and how to build that. I think that's a big one. But also just talking, like, I'm happy to chat to any of you who want to kind of have a bit of a chat through that, because every situation is so unique as well. It's not like I would love to give you the magic formula, but every you're also unique in your own way. So a conversation, I think, is a really good place to start, and it is, and you know, and working on that core.
So we've just finished our workshop with the girls about the mental health and the emotional care side of stuff when it comes to performing. Do you want to talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so mental health and well-being is so important, because it's really who we are. The girls are the tools, and that's what they do when they are competing in a competition. So therefore, it's really important that they're looking after themselves in their mental state, in their physical state, and also their souls.
Yeah, definitely. And obviously, for those who aren't aware, you're from Arts of Care, right? And you're the director.
Yes.
What kind of prompted you to start this kind of community?
Yeah, so mental health and well-being is such a hot topic in the industry at the moment, and when I first started, it actually wasn't. I saw a lot of girls and just people in the arts and entertainment industry who were really kind of suffering with burnout and making poor choices in their health and their mental health. So there was a real need to be able to empower the arts and entertainment industry to be healthy from the inside out.
What are the most, let's say, common problems that because I know that you've worked backstage for shows like Mercedes-Benz. What are maybe some of the most common challenges that models might experience backstage?
Yeah, well, I think people don't realise the stresses that can be on runways. It's not always glamorous, and it's long hours and hectic schedules, and sometimes that actually means that there needs to be this kind of sense of calm in the chaos, and so that's one of the big issues that I find where it can really impact the mental health. So stress and pressure, the highs and lows of the industry as well. One moment you can be having an amazing career, and the other end of it can be sometimes you might have days where you're struggling, as well as it can be quite competitive as well.
Yeah, definitely. And when it comes to that competitiveness, sometimes it can really damage their inner qualities or how they view themselves, right?
Absolutely.
When it comes to, let's say, that they are aware that they are going through something and they need to seek help, how do they know who to look out for?
Yeah, so, well, we have a website, so artscare.com, and that's a place that people can reach out to us, and we have trained individuals who are specially trained in mental health, first aid, and other specialised areas as well. But there's also some other good organisations as well, which provide care, like Beyond Blue and Lifeline too, if there's a crisis.
They're it's really important, I think, to be able to chat about issues, and it's okay to not be okay. I think sometimes we feel like we have to have it all together, and as human beings we never have it all together. So talking and reaching out is really important.
And I just want to talk more about why you think it's important. Why do you really think that as models, or even just anyone out there, whatever they're doing, it's really important for them to, why is it important for them to really take care of their mental health?
Because the mental health is really impacts everything. When our thoughts are not right, or when our emotions kind of, you might feel have really low days, and it can impact your sense of well-being and how we think and how we interact with other people. It can actually sometimes put us in a really tough space. And they actually said that the stats in the arts and entertainment industry is actually 1 in 3 people in the arts and entertainment industry, they actually attempt suicide every week. So that's a very high statistic, and we hear sometimes these tragic stories in the industry where people can feel like they're on this spiral, out of control feeling, and that's not nice to be in. Like, I think it's not nice to feel alone, and it's great. Sometimes you just need someone who has those special skills to be able to help dig out what's really going on for you, and help your positive thoughts, and really give you a bit of a lift and support.
Or even just someone that they can talk to, because not everyone has that kind of support. Sometimes when you're pursuing a career in this kind of industry where it's creative, most of the time family or that kind of your intimate circle aren't very supportive. It's very rare to be born or to be surrounded with people who understand that creativity is, if you're talented in that, then you go and pursue it. It's very difficult for a lot of people, because society, it's been ongoing for so many years now, but it's still an ongoing thing where kids are being told to do this and do that. And it's like we learned before in previous workshop, it's like a subconscious kind of thought process that gets engraved in your head when you're being told as a child that you should be this, and that when you grow up your mind just goes on autopilot, and that can be really damaging. So it's really nice that when you're taking that step further, pursuing something that you want, we have people like you, like from Arts of Care, who can really take care of these people. I'm interested to know what has been some of the most shocking experiences that you had as someone who's helping people in the industry.
So I get called into a variety of situations all the time. I mean, I feel like every kind of situation has its different challenges. I think definitely, I had actually, it's not really in the modelling industry, it was actually a performer, and she had an operation. She was an opera singer, and she had an operation on her voice, and the operation actually went wrong. It was on her voice box, and so therefore she totally lost her voice. And she was, that was her career. She was up and coming, and it was grief for her because she would never be able to sing again, and years of training had gone into that. But it was also hard for the people around her as well, because it made them realise that our skill doesn't necessarily mean that it's always going to be there as well. So it was quite confronting. So that I got to go in and provide care and support for them, and we were also able to kind of explore some of the ways that they would be able to recover.
That's good. That's really good. Each person has their own unique challenges, and each one of them has different strengths and weaknesses, and it's really comforting just knowing that there are people out there who are willing to listen and help them out. So thank you so much for your time, and really looking forward to seeing how the workshop impacts the girls.
Excellent. Thank you.
Hello everyone, it's Crystel from Behind the Lens, and we just finished our workshop with Sharna, who is the Director of Arts of Care. Now, we went and covered mental health in the performing and arts industry, specifically the fashion industry, obviously for our girls here, and we talked about how mental health is a unique experience for each of us, and we all just need to realize that we are all human, we all go through challenges, and the first step to healing and recovery is always opening your doors and being vulnerable to at least one person. That is the first step. As always, the glitz and glam is the fame, but it's the work backstage that makes the game. I'm Crystel and Bandal, your host from Behind the Lens, and this is Miss Runway Supermodel Australia. Bye! We are practicing social distancing, and we hope that you are too. Make sure that you are practicing good hygiene and taking care of your health and well-being. We hope that you are all staying positive during this time, and we hope that you all stay safe. For the safety of our staff and our models, we have converted all of the activities of this program online. And from the advice of the Australian government, we are changing the date of the Winterland finals of Miss Runway Supermodel Australia 2020, with further details to be announced once they are confirmed.